What's an extra 10 minutes when we've been waiting 5 months? It's puck time. I know the image is wrong. Bear with us. But we get to talk hockey. Carmine Bianco, Dave Koken, and Andrew McGinnis joining us. And boys, I am pumped. Dave Koken, how are you, my friend?
Well, we had a little technical glitch. And I've decided that expression covers a lot of things. The next time I'm having an interlude and things don't go quite according to plan, which does happen at my age, I'm going to call it a technical glitch.
Okay, we'll go with that. Dave, you're rolling in baseball right now. Give us a quick rundown before we get into the hockey stuff.
Well, I don't want to take too much time, so I'll just say it's very good, and leave it at that. And I do have a pickup for today now available right now at WagerTalk.
There you go, everybody. Head over to WagerTalk. Dave Koken, rolling in baseball. Andrew McGinnis, you are as well. Fill us in, dude. It's 11-2 run.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so pumped to have hockey back, Prez. Happy to be talking hockey with you guys. But Dave and I had the KBO show. It was great. And now MLB's back, and I'm on an 11-2 run. So couldn't really ask for a better scenario to start the season off, and hopefully get a hot start to hockey as well. So can't wait to get started.
And Carmine is really excited because there was a fight in an exhibition game.
Who was the fight?
Certainly was. I was watching. I've been watching all the exhibition games. Obviously, not betting on any of them.
Me neither.
But I just want to get a feel for. I just want to get a feel for how these teams are playing and stuff. And I don't have a problem with where it's going. But it was Lemieux and Boychuk. So, and it was a pretty good one. So they ripped each other's helmets off. They got a few shots in. Boychuk actually got more of the shots in. But it's good to see them. And Dave, like you said before the show went to air, I think it's probably the last fight we see in the playoffs. We're not going to see a lot of them.
No. By the way, if Lemieux gets in a fight, it's one of the rare occasions. If he gets beat up, players on both teams applaud.
I just want to talk hockey, man. Like, I'm so pumped.
All right. Yeah. Let's go.
Yeah. What we're going to do today is we're going to take apart every...
Now, wait a minute.
Yep.
1 second. Because this does have to be mentioned. That 13th straight winner for you, Prez? You got to mention that, buddy.
I know. It's amazing, dude. I had a 5% play last night in baseball, the under in the Kansas City game. It was a total miracle win, which we'll take, dude. We lose those all the time. So we'll take that. 13 baseball wins in a row. And I'll have a play up today as well. So check that out, everybody. I appreciate the shout out there, Dave. But yeah, let's get into it. We're going to look at all the series. Yeah. I'm just going to tell everybody right off the bat, we're going to take apart the games for this weekend tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern time. That's when puck time will be on from now on, 11 a.m. Eastern. The four of us will be back tomorrow, and then next week we go to 3 people per show, and we'll rotate through. And we will be including Buster from Buster Sports. So check that out. We've got a huge promotion up for everybody. Any one of us, including Buster, you guys can get our entire playoff package, every single bet, for only $139. There's no promo code required. Just head over to Sports Memo or WagerTalk. By any one of us, Buster, Rocky, whoever, any one of the hockey guys, $139. Nice to see you, Jacob Martin, Brian Watson, Matt Lawrence. We got Backdoor Cover. I like his name. Nice to see all of you guys. Boys, let's go. Calgary, Winnipeg, this is going to be an unbelievably fun series. Calgary, a team with redemption on their mind. Going into the playoffs last year, second place in the league, got knocked out. And Winnipeg, really a team that plays as well as their goalie takes them. It's a pretty much close to a pick'em series, minus 115 towards the Calgary Flames. And I'm going to start with you, Dave Koken. What do you like in this best of five?
Hellebuck. He is the Winnipeg Jets. I mean, you could make a real case for him as a Hart Trophy candidate this year. He's been that good. They're a very average team. But Hellebuck has been tremendous in goal. And when the playoffs start, I mean, this is an old axiom, ride the hot goalie. Well, we'll see if, he's as hot as he was during the regular season, although the early indications are that he looks sharp. And I think that's something that could propel Winnipeg in this series. Calgary, they have not at any time this year looked like the team we saw in the regular season last year, to me. They're not as fast as they were, and they were a real speed juggernaut last season. They've really only got consistent line play from one line, in my opinion. I think that Winnipeg's got a real shot in the series. I don't know that the Jets could advance anywhere past this because I just don't think they've got good enough talent. But I would look at the hot goalie, and that is Connor Hellebuck, or the more talented.
Andrew, I'm not making a bet on this series either. I think it's going to be very close. I will say this. If there's a bet to be made, I think you should bet that it goes all 5 games. I do like over the total in this series on most of the games, but we'll discuss that tomorrow. I know Hellebuck is amazing, but Calgary can score, and there's going to be a lot of speed on that side of the ice. So I'm going to pass on the series, but I would throw a little bit, as Gianni and Marco say, sprinkle a little bit on this thing going all 5 games.
Well, I mean, you look at this Calgary team coming off a disappointment last year, and I think you look at what really builds a playoff team. I think number one is size. Winnipeg wins that category. Goaltending. Winnipeg wins that category. And depth of scoring, I'd say Winnipeg wins that category. So, looking at strictly, exactly. Strictly playoff stuff. A lot of people don't really realize this. Obviously, we're not getting, always watching post-game interviews and stuff like that, and we see these guys sitting down at the chairs and stuff. Winnipeg is statistically all around throughout their entire team. I think top 3 biggest team in the league. I mean, a lot of their forwards are like 6 foot, 6'1", 6 foot. I mean, these guys have size. They have weight to them. They're going to knock you off the puck. And besides Tkachuk being Tkachuk, Calgary isn't that much of a physical team. And with the layoff with the NHL right now, and we've already seen in the exhibition so many unders cashing, it's going to be physicality. It's going to be goaltending that really takes the cake. And I look at that top 6 for Winnipeg, and I see a lot more scoring. I see Kyle Connor, Nikolai Ehlers, Laine, all those guys. And then you got the big guys like Wheeler and Scheifele. The list goes on for the possible scorers, and the big question mark really, I had a friend that was a season ticket holder for the Calgary Flames. He said that every time they were in a game, the fans are on their seat because they don't know if Talbot or Riddick are going to just blow the game for them. You just don't know which one you're going to get that night. So this opened up at, I believe, plus 120. It's down quite a bit now. I think Winnipeg takes the series here.
That's fair. Carmine, where are you at with this one?
No, I understand that both the guys make good points, and Andrew's giving Winnipeg pretty much the advantage in every category, and yet Calgary is still the favorite in the series. As good as Hellebuck has been, and he has been good, that defense just doesn't do it for me. And this is the one thing that scares me about this team, because they were horrible early on, if you remember, and we have been off 4 months. But with that, that aside, the one thing that worked for Winnipeg was trying to keep teams to the outside. Keep them to the outside, nothing up the middle. Allow your forwards to get back and sort of shadow your defense and help out. But Calgary plays a little different. With the chuck up the middle, and this guy he can get under your skin. We saw him do it with the Oilers. It's one of those things where he gets under your skin, and he's had a pretty good season: 23 goals, 38 assists. Johnny Gaudreau, of course, not bad as well too. 18 goals, 40 assists. It's one of those things. It comes down to, as which Andrew mentioned, is whether it's Talbot in net or whether it's Riddick in net. Can they win you a game? Can they steal you a game when you're not playing well? A good goalie steals you games, and Hellebuck has done it for Winnipeg. But these guys have been good. I always look at that save percentage. It's a big thing for me. Both at 91. So far this season, I have to believe that defensively, I think Calgary is a better team. These are going to be low-scoring games. They have been between these two teams for a while. I'm looking at unders in this series.
I'm looking at overs,
for me.
Bastard.
Yeah, well, this is good for me if you're looking at overs. But I'm going to take Calgary and win the series. But
What?
I believe
Carmine,
I'm
you have been
taking the
removed
Flames.
from the screen. That he's gone. You watch. I'm gonna turn your mic off. Turn your mic off. You go look at YouTube, Carm. You have been removed. Insulting the host of the show. Apologize and I'll bring you back. Apologize and I'll bring you back on the screen. Okay. Yeah, okay, fine. I'll bring you back anyway, you bastard. Everybody listen up. What's going to happen today is we started a little bit late. I have a hard stop at 10 to 12. My brothers and I are taking my dad out for his birthday golf game. That's why I'm wearing the collared shirt. So any series that we do not cover today, we will continue tomorrow at 11 a.m. and we'll finish up there. But very rare do I have a hard stop. But my dad is 76 years old, and Dave can tell you when you hit that age, golf is elusive. So I really need to take him. Nice to see you, Illuminati's bogus Scott. And yes, Scott, the baseball show is on today. Andrew and Dave, you guys have just been doing a great job with that. I mean, 300 or so people showing up in the live chat. Lots of great comments. So, Andrew, congratulations for taking that show over and filling my shoes as well as you have.
You hosted on the weekend, and I heard it went great. So it's been a privilege working with Dave. And my favorite part about it is having just all the guys and all the cast of WagerTalk on. I want to mention one thing about this, Prez. It's kind of exciting for me. The program we're using allows up to 10 people to be on the video at once. So every Friday, we're going to have like the Brady bunch. We're going to call it the baseball bunch. And we're going to just have as many cappers as we can from WagerTalk and Sports Memo just on that screen at once.
Wow. I'll make sure to check that out. Okay, boys. So, this Calgary-Winnipeg, Andrew, I think you made a really great point in the sense that Winnipeg is better at so many levels. The problem, and Carr mentioned it, is their defense. And I think that's really what's going to hurt them. The reason
I agree on that.
Let's take a second here to look at it. The game's tied. There's 5 minutes to go. Who are we relying on for Calgary to score a big goal?
Andrew, the genius behind Calgary is we're not relying on any one particular person. That team does score, and that team has a lot of speed, and that's where the matchup for Winnipeg's defense is going to be problematic. If I was Winnipeg, I'd much rather play, a Nashville or a St. Louis. But this Calgary...
Yeah, but oftentimes speed isn't as, in the regular season, I think some speed means more in the regular season, to be honest with you. I think these games turn into close checking games where teams don't want to make mistakes. They're much more cautious. And that's something that could cover up some of the defensive deficiencies in the Jets.
Yeah, and keep in mind, Paul Maurice is an amazing coach. So
he's a really good coach.
Yes.
And again, I think Calgary's better than Winnipeg, except at one position.
Yeah, goalie.
And that's the key position. That's goalie.
Prez, Johnny Gaudreau is like 5'3". How is he going to get anywhere near the net? He's going to have to score his goals from the blue line.
Spoken from a 6'6" man, right?
The playoffs are a completely different beast, guys. We see it each and every year. It's not always the biggest, baddest, toughest team. Listen, prime example. Look at Tampa Bay and Columbus last year.
I was just going to bring up the same exact thing.
So,
because they didn't match up. Tampa had an enormous speed advantage, and they lost 4 straight.
Okay, boys. I don't think we have any definitive thoughts on this Calgary-Winnipeg series. Andrew does like Winnipeg. The rest of us are wishy-washy, which is totally fine because we don't need to
No,
bet
I like
everything.
Calgary.
New York
Now,
Rangers against
like,
Carolina. Sorry,
Calm,
Dave.
you weren't paying attention because Calm clearly likes Calgary.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
listen. I deleted Carm's entire segment, Dave.
Oh, okay.
Carolina
Whatever.
against the Rangers. Carolina.
All right, so here's
Yeah.
and this is the series I wanted to talk about from this standpoint. Carolina has one of the really great home ice advantages in the NHL. I mean, that
Yep.
crowd is absolutely nutso down there. Just like they're like the Golden Knights in the Eastern Conference. And I think that could, playing in all the games in one location, that's a long way from Carolina and with no fans. I think that could be a problem for them. And I think that's something that might help the Rangers. What do you guys think?
Well, I actually
look-
think that's a great point, Dave, and I was going to mention that too. And I like the Rangers here. I think the Rangers are going to score, and I don't think Calgary is as good a team. Carolina is as good a team as they were last year going to the playoffs. I think that was a little bit of an aberration. I'm not betting this series either, but if I had to, I would take the Rangers. Andrew?
Yeah, look, I did a video with Ralph that should be up tomorrow on WagerTalk, and he talks about his guide that he created, the NHL guide. I mean,
Yeah, it's amazing.
the countless hours that he put into that is unbelievable. And what we found out with that is that it's been, I believe, 8 straight wins for the Rangers over the Hurricanes. But guys, the average price on all those games was Carolina minus 180. They're just continuously the favorites against this New York team, no matter what the result is from the previous history. And looking at that, what really looks, and anyone hearing that right now is pounding the Rangers. The public is loving the Rangers in this series, and the more I thought about it, you take playoff experience into consideration. You take what we saw last year when they were, getting the bunch of jerks name, and they were kind of building around that. You kind of think to yourself, we got a guy in Shesterkin that we all loved and bet on him as unders or money line. Still a young goaltender. We got a New York Rangers team that's heavily reliant on 2, 3, 4 maybe guys to get the job done, and that's not going to cut it in the playoffs. So, I want to find some dogs to back, obviously, in the playoffs, and Winnipeg was kind of a slight dog, but the more I thought about it, the more I realized that I think it's going to be a tight one, but I think Carolina takes this one in 5. If you your book, plus 1.5 in the series, if you like the Rangers and you can get a little bit of that, look towards that or bet the over. Obviously, this is just 3 out of 5. And you look at the way this Carolina team plays. Obviously, like I said, Shesterkin is good, but New York still plays a more sloppy style of hockey, a very fast pace up and down the ice. Carolina wants to control things. They want to they want to take you behind the net and play from behind there. And that's going to benefit them a hell of a lot more than it's going to benefit New York. And I'm going to talk about it a lot, but look at the size. Look at Zibanejad. Look at some of these guys on New York that are their all-star players, and then look at some of the bigger guys for Carolina. We'll see how that works out for them.
He's Andrew McGinnis on an 11-2 baseball run. And you can see him and Dave every day on First Pitch, 2 p.m. Eastern. Andrew, I get it, dude. I mean, look, Carolina, they're a gritty team as well, and they have Mr. Overtime on that team, and I would be scared going to overtime against that team. But I really think Dave's point is in play here. I think this is a team that just needs to be on home ice in these type of series. And Carm, I do like Andrew's concept of betting plus 1.5. I just like the Calgary and Winnipeg. I think this is a 5-gamer.
Yeah, I think it does. I'm going to harp on the thing of goalies, as David said before. Goalies are the most important thing. And listen, in his first season with this team, I'm telling you, Shesterkin is the real deal.
Yeah.
24 years old. This kid is just doing it, and we saw right out of the gate, no nerves on this guy, and he's the kind of guy where I talked about having a goalie who can steal you a game when your team is not playing well, and this is a guy that can do it. The Rangers, I don't have the numbers here. Maybe Andrew knows them, but the Rangers were one of the best teams as a dog on the road. They just continued to win games.
Carmine, they were the third most profitable team in the league all year.
Yeah, well, there you go. Power play wise, if Carolina wants to play physical, you put this Rangers team on the power play, 22.9%, fourth best team in the East on the power play. I think they win this series over Carolina. I think that Carolina used, like Dave said, they used that home ice advantage last year, and it served them well. Mm-hmm. But it's just one of those things where they're not at home now. This is an empty stadium, and as far as empty stadiums go, I don't think it helps a team hinders a team.
There's one team it helps. The Panthers, because they're used to it.
They are, and Arizona as well too. Most of the fans in their stadiums were from opposing teams making the trip to Arizona. But as far as that goes, I don't think it's going to make that big a deal. This is why I'm watching the games, to see how these guys are at fitness levels, just to see how sloppy they are. These players are fit. Trust me, these guys are not out of shape. These guys are fit. During these 3 months off, these guys stayed fit. It's just the timing and getting that timing right on the ice and getting it back. And that's how I'm going to cap the games. I'm going to cap the games as if these are two teams playing on neutral ice, and their abilities are their abilities as they were before we went on this pandemic break.
Well, that was some noise. Someone was squeaking at you, Carm.
That's not me.
That wasn't here. There's nothing happening.
Okay, boys, let's get to the next series. And Edmonton minus 175 to win against Chicago. And I'm just going to tell everybody right now, I bet Edmonton at plus 2,200 to win the entire thing. I did it 2 days ago. I am all in on this Edmonton team based on value. I think you're going to have a healthy Connor coming in. He's got a chip on his shoulder based on last season. I think Colorado is an absolute beast. They're going to be a real tough out for Edmonton to march to the Stanley Cup Finals. But I really like this Edmonton team. I like the management. I like the coach. I like, they're deeper than they were last year. But they're going to go as far as their goalie as well. I like Edmonton minus 175, and I think they win the series 3-1. Dave?
Well, I don't think Edmonton will win the cup.
Well, that's why
I think
plus
goaltending
2,200.
Yeah, and I think goaltending will eventually do them in. But Chicago is they're the worst team. I would say they're the worst team in the playoffs. And I don't think that's a revelation. They've got a lot of weaknesses on this team. And I would be really concerned about their goaltending, because their best goaltender is sharing time with Marc-Andre Fleury in Las Vegas. Or with Las Vegas. I just don't. The Blackhawks probably steal a game someplace in the series.
I think will happen. Yeah.
I don't think they'll get swept, but they're not very good. There's just too many holes on that team, and I think the Oilers should roll in this series at least.
Andrew McGinnis.
Yeah, I think the veteran aspect is out the window for the Chicago Blackhawks team. I talk about experience all the time in the playoffs. That's not going to be a factor in this one. I think one of the factors in that has to be the layoff. I think that there's no jitters. The hockey players are human just like us, and some of them definitely get nervous, and they can go through certain scenarios and certain hype. They have just been plopped in a bubble and said, hey, guys, go play hockey. So that's all they're going to be ready to do. The Oilers made some good moves at the trade deadline. They've added even more speed than they already had. I can, it's probably over 50 times that between Carmine, Prez, and myself that we would just discuss countless times how we needed to get more help for Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, and not just a couple guys scoring. I believe now they have that more than they ever have. If the defense can stay solid and not try and jump into the rush too much, let the forwards do their job. I thought both goaltenders looked really solid for the Oilers, which right after made me feel pretty good about them moving through the next series. And I just think that we look at the guys up front for Chicago. We're gonna get a highlight reel play out of Patrick Kane. Yeah. We're gonna get a DeBrincat goal, but it's not going to be consistent. and that's the biggest problem. And if you look at the age of the defense and how injured they were throughout the season, Connor McDavid's going to skate circles around them. And it's so easy for us to say that, guys, but the pace that he has, and I think it's also underrated, not just his goal scoring, but his ability to move the puck. A lot of people have said like Crosby's a playmaker, McDavid's more of a goal scorer. I don't know. I mean, this guy literally looks like he's playing basketball the way he puts the puck right on the stick. It's unbelievable. He's going to get the job done. And it's notable to mention Corey Crawford. I believe he had COVID-19. I'm not 100% sure on that, but he was late to camp. He was late to getting there. The goaltending situation is a little bit off there with Chicago. And the price has gone up for a reason in this series. So the fact that players on McDavid's team were saying that he looked faster is certainly scary. However, I would look at the over in this series. It's gonna be an over series.
I agree.
If you're seeing sixes here, I'd look over here. I saw Chicago play again my first time in Vegas this past year. I saw them play the Vegas Golden Knights, and it was just the pace. It was just up and down, up and down, up and down. Teams weren't spending any time in their own ends. It was just constant breakaways.
Carmine Bianco rolling in soccer. Check him and I out tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern on stoppage time. Edmonton or Chicago, brother?
Yeah, it's Chicago, much like the Montreal Canadiens. These are two teams that I don't think should be in the playoffs, but because of this expanded format, they are. Excuse me. I know the guys talked about stealing a game. The thing here is games being played in these bubble cities. I don't actually I'm looking at some of these series and I'm betting some of these series even laying the game and a half instead of taking the game and a half. And the reason for that is this isn't your typical play 2 games at home, head back to another city, play games there. That home ice leaves where you think a team that's inferior, like let's say Chicago, and no disrespect to Chicago, but again, this Edmonton is a better team where Edmonton wins the first 2 at home, and then you figure Chicago will steal 1 at home before the series is over. That's not going to happen in a lot of these series, and I think some of these, and a lot sooner than that 4 games. Some of them could be sweeps. As far as this Edmonton, I like the team. Everything from from the defense out. Obviously Larson anchoring that defense, but you look at some of the their lines. McDavid, Cassian, and Nugent Hopkins. Like you look at the 3 lines, picking up guys like Tyler Enos, who's had more time with the team.
Fits that team very well. Tyler, he's super fast. Yeah.
Picking up Anastasio from who's on the 3rd line.
And everyone wants an Anastasio.
He's great. And Anastasio is awesome. He's going to be a goal scorer in the playoffs, I think.
Yeah. And this is the thing. So it becomes that the thing again is if you're looking for a weak link, is it the goalies? Is it Koskinen? I admit last year and Dave called me on this. I was like, I'm not a fan of Mike Smith in the playoffs, but Smith played well. I'm not sure if it was last season or even the season before. So it's who's in there and can they do it? And the price is good on Edmonton. And even if you don't think they can win the cup, here for me, it's always about finding a price that's good enough that if the team makes it to the conference finals, you can hedge for a profit. It's all about bankroll and hedging, and the Oilers fit that mold.
That's why I started the segment with I bet them at plus 2,200. I mean, and they're playing on home ice. There's a lot going for this Edmonton Oilers team. Boys, as I said, everybody, thank you for watching Puck Time. We are not done yet, but I do have a hard stop in 10 minutes. My dad is 76 years old, and my brothers and I are taking him golfing today, and the tee-off time is at 10-1. And we did start late, so we will continue with the series tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern, and we will also look at all the games. Let's just finish up Saturday, boys. We got the Islanders, the Panthers, and Pittsburgh and Montreal to go, and then tomorrow we'll take a look at the 3 series that start on Sunday. Islanders and Panthers. I'll just bottom line this year. I like this. I like the Islanders. I'm betting the Islanders, Dave Koken. I think this is a veteran team, made a nice run last year. It's a very interesting series because we have an extremely high-scoring and fast Florida team versus a tight checking, I wouldn't say slow, but the style of play from the Islanders, the style of play from Florida, totally opposite. Be interesting to see the Islanders keep this Florida team under 3 goals a game. That's how they have to win it, and I think they can do it. I like the Islanders. Go ahead.
Well, Barry Trotz.
What
right?
a coach.
There you go. Well, he's as good as it gets, and especially at this time of year. And all the reports, and we're not there, so we're relying on reports, but they haven't been good as far as the Panthers are concerned. It's just something about the state of Florida. No offense to anybody who's from there, but Jesus, does every screw-up have to come out of that state? I mean, jeez. No, I think that the Islanders are built more for the playoffs than the Panthers. They've got the better coach. I don't trust Bobrovsky even a little bit. I think he is clearly past his prime. He can have a good game every now and then, but boy, he has turned into a human rebound at times. I just, if you're looking at it on paper, you can make all kinds of cases for the Panthers because they got a ton of talent on that team, but they're just not a good team. I think the Islanders take them here.
Andrew McGinnis, talk to me, baby.
I just don't think the Florida Panthers are. I don't think that they got some still guys that are young like Dadonov and Huberdeau, Barkov even. Those are the guys you're relying on heavily, and I just don't think they're ready for the big moment and ready to rock really. And there's going to be so much pressure on them to do so much. Then you got guys like Brett Conley, Brian Boyle down there in the third line that I just don't think they'll be able to do too much. But let's take a look at the defense. I mean, besides Ekblad, nothing really sticks out. Keith Yandel can be all right sometimes. Mackenzie Weegar, I actually saw him play here in Halifax for our local junior team. He's good, but his problem is he's going to jump into the rush far too many times. The Florida Panthers do not need defensemen that jump into the rush. They just don't. They have constant 2-on-1s against them every single game. Yeah. Same thing with Anton Strawman. He's going to try and jump into the rush. It's not going to benefit them. I think one really underrated move that this New York Islanders team made is picking up Jean-Gabriel Pajot from the Ottawa Senators.
He
nice
is
player.
A great playoff player.
Yeah, and I always say that I don't like small guys in the playoffs, but this guy plays like he's 6'6". He has the heart. He's not afraid to get into the dirty areas. And you look at the top two lines, Anthony Beauvillier, he's a beast. He's huge. And then the top line with Lee, Barzell, and Aberle, I don't see how this Florida team can go line for line, and then we get into the goaltending. Like I know somebody that was talking to a scout for Florida, and they said, what were they thinking going out and getting Bobrovsky? I didn't think that was the problem. So pretty much what I heard is that they didn't even think it was goaltending that was the problem for Florida. It was their defense. They go out and spend a lot of money on Bobrovsky, and he's just been nothing but a little bit above average.
I don't even know if he's been that, Andrew.
No, he's been in the bottom half of the league.
Kind of bad.
I'll tell you who's been better than average, Dave, is Varlamov.
Oh, yeah.
I was actually impressed with him, and he, the funny thing is I'm listening to radio shows yesterday for the NHL, and a lot of people saying they're not taking into consideration what we saw in the exhibition. I'm not going to speak for you guys, but I don't get how anybody can say that. This is the one game we had to see how these teams look. How can we not take that into consideration? It just doesn't make any sense to me. Varlamov looked good. The Islanders look good. I like them.
Carmine Bianco, where are you going in the series?
Yeah, I'll sum this up very quickly, but because I know you got to go. There's never a good time for a pandemic, but if there was, it came at the right time for the Islanders because they could not keep the puck out of the net. They looked absolutely horrible. 4 months off. Gives them a time to regroup, get guys healthy. Trotz will do a fantastic job with them. You look at, Florida can score. I remember in the playoffs last year, there was a team called the Pittsburgh Penguins that could score, and the New York Islanders, with great defense and goaltending, swept them 4 straight. The 2 good goalies in Varlamov and you have Greiss. If anything was to happen to Bobrovsky, they got to go to Drager, and I'm not really sure. He's the guy you want between the pipes to win you a series.
They actually won more. They actually had a better winning percentage with him than Bobrovsky this year, though.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I think he's been terrible.
Yeah.
And the games I bet Florida this year, I believe me, I watched those games, and it's like, Jesus, will you cut it out? He was letting in some soft rebounds that he regressed considerably.
No, I'm with you, but I'll tell you, like Edmonton with Smith, at least Florida has a goalie that, if he is on his game, could be phenomenal.
Yeah, I know, but the thing is, he hasn't shown any indications that he's on his game anymore.
Let's not forget, though, he's getting peppered with shots. He's getting over 33 a game.
And close range shots. They don't have a defense that is moving people out of the net.
I'll bet money he lets in a bad goal in the first period.
Okay, we'll talk about that tomorrow. Hip Hop, nice to see you. Louis Cipher, Luke Casey, Bletz, Jay Stone, Illuminatis. I can't thank you guys enough for joining us. We're going to look at one more series, and then we're going to call it a day. We will be back tomorrow at 11 a.m. It'll be a long show tomorrow. We're going to talk about the remaining 3 series, and then we're going to look at every single game that goes this weekend. It'll be the same 4 that you're looking at now. So let's get into the last one. Pittsburgh, Montreal, minus 235 for the Penguins. And, man, I'll tell you flat out, and we'll go to you first, Dave. I can't bet this series, but
neither can I.
From a value perspective, I think Montreal might actually be the play.
I took the words right out of my mouth. I mean, if I were going on value, I would take Montreal.
Yeah.
But I'm not a big value guy when it comes to the playoffs. I never have been. It's the Super Bowl in football. The Super Bowl in football is the classic example. I don't give a shit about the value. I got to try and find the winner of the game, and that's playoff hockey to me. I look for value in the regular season. In the playoffs, I'm going to try and pick the winner. Now, I'm not going to play this because there's not a chance in the world I'd lay that price with the Penguins. But I think the Penguins are going to win the series, so you really can't make the price high enough for me to have that good a feeling. I'd have to be convinced I think Montreal's got a real shot to win the series, and I still made Pittsburgh about $1.80 to win the series. So, I mean, there's value, but to me, Pittsburgh's still a clear favorite, so I'm out.
Andrew, I know you're a Habs fan, and I do apologize for that. Sorry to you and your family and your future. This is a good matchup for them, though. Pittsburgh, even with their centers, Malkin and Crosby, they're a low-scoring hockey team, and I think that's the type of game that Montreal needs to play to win. We could see 2-1, 3-2 games. Montreal doesn't have a high-scoring forward, but they do have depth, and they do have grinders.
God, they're small, though.
It's
just the physicality of the playoffs.
Yeah.
That, to me, is a real issue for them. I honestly, real quick, I'd love to see Montreal pull this off because they'll get killed in the second round if they do.
Well,
they'll wear down.
How dare you, Dave? I thought we were friends, Dave.
Dave, I wish Montreal as much success as I wish. I'm just going to not go there. But no success. Go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah, first of all, I won't take long. I apologize to Carm. I didn't give him. I took too long in my last breakdown. But I think the one thing I'll say, which a lot of people are going to laugh at, just because of who I'm saying here. But you look at the series we saw during the year with Montreal and Pittsburgh. The first game was 4-1 for Montreal, and I bring up that game because they were healthy. They had a healthy Shea Weber, and more importantly, they had Paul Byron and Jonathan Drouin. I know they're not big names. I know they're not huge names. Byron scored another great goal in the exhibition. He's been good all season. He's no all-star. He's no big highlight reel, but he's a quality player. And having him back healthy, having Drouin back healthy, a guy that we're going to heavily rely on, having Nick Suzuki to have more time to practice with his line mates, I think they give him a chance here and a healthy Shea Weber. It all comes down to the defense for the Montreal Canadiens. If Jeff Petrie doesn't give the puck to the opposition in our own end and stuff like that, if Carey Price is healthy, which he is, he's rested, which he is, I give us a puncher's chance. I'm going to look at, he is, I'm just saying. I'm looking at the first period under I guess we're not talking about the games, but I'm looking at the under in like pretty much every game this series.
Yeah.
That's just, with the talent that Pittsburgh has, I don't think they're going to be blowing anybody out. To be honest,
it's going to be a bunch of 2-1, 3-2 games. Carmine Bianco, finish up.
Yeah, and they'll be perfectly happy with those 2 and 3 games. Andrew, sorry I have to say this, you're sounding like that guy who buys that lottery ticket when the jackpot's at like 60 million, and you're like, come on, man, if these numbers come out,
if Guy Lafleur shows up,
but,
Steve Shutt comes back.
We probably thought the same thing about Columbus last year against Tampa Bay, and they knocked them off. But with that said, if Tampa does not blow that 3-0 lead in the first game, they sweep that series. In my mind, they were dead after that. For me, it's Pittsburgh. They sweep this series. You can take Pittsburgh minus 1.5 games and get plus 114.
That's a great bet
right now. That number. And I'm going to take that. I think they sweep it. The best thing for the Canadiens to do right now, and I think Andrew will agree with this, is to get eliminated in the first round, because one of the 8 teams eliminated have a 12.5% shot at that first round draft pick and picking up. How good would Alexis Lafreniere look in a Montreal jersey next season?
Bad.
I'll say one thing. I'll say one thing about the Pittsburgh Penguins. One thing about that team. We have to handicap the break a little bit. We have to talk. We didn't really talk about it much. I think the break really big time negatively impacts this team. You know, Sidney Crosby trains in my hometown. They go hard all summer with they bring a lot of guys. This is like a brand new thing for them. Obviously, they've been training guys during the pandemic. You can't replicate game stuff.
Andrew, I totally disagree with you.
I
totally disagree with you, but I gotta end the show, guys. I love you all. We are back tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern. We will have more small talk. It'll be a better show. We got off late today due to some technical difficulties. The show felt rushed for me. I'd like to apologize. I don't think I did a very good job today. I will make up for it tomorrow. I wish you all well, and all of us keep winning.
No teas in the rough there. Okay.
Yeah. I don't use tees.
No teeing it up in the
Dave,
rough.
when the ball is in the rough, I just pick it up and throw it. Tee.
Even better.
Okay. Love you all. Mwah. See you tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern for more puck time.